Okay. I'm going to talk about the Israeli regulatory framework for the AV. Well, I don't know about you, but it's very cold on the podium now. My name is Yaakov Shemtov. I'm the head of Technology and Innovation Department at the Ministry of Transport. Okay. Well, you probably heard today about a lot about the activities in Israel. Anyway, Israel is one of the world's largest technology hub that has seen enormous growth, particularly in the mobility. They're saying they can't hear. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. The number of mobility startups is growing, and attractive opportunities for the tech investors are expected to be even emerge. Now, Israel, as you know, strives to be a global leader in the field of smart mobility and autonomous driving. We in the Ministry of Transport has been making significant steps in order towards the integration and innovative technologies. And of course, we are trying to attract new players to come over and play in Israel. In order to support the development of the testing and advanced technology, including self-driving systems in Israel, we published in 2017 a technical procedure. Later on, in 2018, we amended the traffic regulation to enable examining the AV, to make AV testing. And later on, we launched an innovative testing center. By the way, the testing center in Israel is in the city of Israel. Whoever wants to go and visit there is invited. Under this regulation, the Ministry of Transport, through a professional committee, examining the safety perception of the design systems, we verify that the test driver has been trained properly, and then we give the permits to drive AVs on public roads for testing purposes only for now. For this stage, which is the testing vehicles on public road, the code of practice in Israel requires the existence of a human safety driver behind the wheel, and passengers are not allowed to be part of the trials. Now, since 2017, the Ministry of Transport approved pilots and trials on public roads for four companies developing AV self-driving systems, and approved dozens of other companies testing new technologies. In the last year, we mainly focused on the next step, which was to create the regulatory needed for the approval of autonomous vehicles on public roads. And actually, it's going to be without driver behind the wheel. Actually, this is the regulation for the autonomous cars. And I'm happy to bring to your attention that with the assistance of the government, other government ministries, and after consultation with other approval authorities around the world, and especially with companies in Israel, we have succeeded in passing the bill intended to be the legal frame for the self-driving vehicles in Israel. As a complementary document, we are writing right now the technical procedure. The ministry has decided to adopt dynamic regulatory approach and shape a regulatory sandbox for autonomous vehicles operations. The new regulation framework is very broad and inclusive legislation, followed by agile and flexible procedures that can be changed, and this is the point. We choose to go in that way in order to be able to change and amend the technical procedure with the technical development. This ground-breaking regulation places Israel among the pioneer countries who established regulation for self-driving vehicles without a safety operator behind the wheel, and especially enable commercial operation with paying passengers. Now, what we are going to do in the next few years, we intend to carry out the regulatory supervision. We are going to learn from the experience, ours and the companies. And we are going to examine the development of international regulations. And then probably in a few years, we are going to set the final requirements and regulation for the autonomous cars in Israel. Now, I want to say some words about the policy of our law. First of all, the operators of the self-driving vehicles should be a company registered in Israel. The second thing is the operator will be accountable for all the operation aspects as he is the manufacturer of the self-driving vehicle, the owner of the car, and the driver. The operator should operate a control center located in Israel. The control center should be equipped with two-way secured communication system and should be able to communicate with the vehicle itself, I mean the computers of the vehicle, and especially with the passengers. The vehicle should get type approval under the requirements listed in the technical procedure that I mentioned before. From the dialogue that we have with the companies in Israel, it seems like we expect to have the request for driving autonomous car without autonomous car in Israel supposed to be something around the end of this year. Probably it's going to be, maybe it's going to be even before, but probably it's going to be around December or January next year. Now, the Ministry of Transport for years relied on international regulation. Just because of the circumstances, we changed our pattern of business here in Israel. And we began to provide regulatory support to the startups, companies operating in Israel. Now for the people that are abroad. The Ministry of Transport welcome new players to come and join the pitch. Bring your AVs to Israel. And I can assure you that we as the Ministry of Transport, we are going to support your operation in Israel. So you're most welcome to come and join the operation in Israel. Okay, thank you very much.